Well, listen, if the Earth does warm, it would be a good idea to move to the cold spots. But if the Earth cools, we're all fucked. And that's what scares me about these fucking eggheads that want to spray particles into the atmosphere to try to cool off the Earth. And like Bill Gates has some like global cooling thing that he's trying to do. Like, don't fuck with the Earth. You don't own the Earth, just like you're not supposed to own the oil. You're not supposed to own the water. You definitely own the atmosphere.
But people's memories are so short. I don't know if you remember this, Joe, but in the 70s, the hysteria we have about warming now, we had about cooling.
It was the Ice Age, yeah.
There was Ice Age. We're all going to freeze to death.
Leonard Nimoy.
We're so fucking arrogant as a species, aren't we?
It's not arrogance. I think we are arrogant, but I think we're being manipulated. And I think we're being manipulated by markets, okay? And I think that when you have this whole green energy initiative and green energy and everything gets booked into green energy, there's a tremendous amount of money that's going to be spent.
Yeah.
That's
tremendous amount of money. And anything that doesn't encourage this green energy, anything that's bad for your business, you're going to shit on, like meat production. You know, you're going to gaslight people about the Impossible Burgers or whatever. You're going to do whatever you can in the media, everywhere. Spend money. Get everybody talking about this. We have a real problem. Meanwhile, the Washington Post, unfortunately for a lot of people, posted like a graph of global temperatures over time. We're in a cooling stage.
Yep.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Over like 50 million years, we're in this cooling stage. And if you only look at 100 years or 200 years, like the temperature is never static, ever, in the history of the Earth. It's always doing this, always. There's no flat line. And if the lines get higher, it gets hotter. If the lines get lower, it gets colder. But when it gets colder, everything fucking dies. And we've come so close to having no life on Earth. There was so little oxygen because there was so little plant life. It was almost not able to sustain life.
When was this?
I forget what period of the Ice Age, but Randall Carlson's brought it up. He talked about the levels that are necessary to support life and that we had gotten down. So like we're at, like what is the carbon, the amount of carbon in the atmosphere? I think it's like 0.4.
Joe, let me have that light, please.
Yeah, could I have it as well, please?
You go for it. You go for
sure.
it.
If it gets... Here,
This is so English. No, you have it.
No, you
have it.
if it gets to a certain point, if the amount of atmosphere gets to a certain point, the amount of oxygen, it just can't sustain life. There's no life. And one of the things about this whole carbon footprint thing, where everybody's just talking about the carbon footprint, like there's more green on Earth right now than there's been in the last 100 years. Like carbon is literally food for plants. So this idea of like eliminating all the carbon, this is crazy talk. You're talking about one particular element that is a part of why the Earth's temperature is what it is. And then you're not taking into account that giant fucking unpredictable ball of fire that's in the sky that's a million times bigger than Earth, that's like shooting off flares. Like, you ever seen one of those flares in relationship to the size of the Earth? It's amazing. And they just shoot, and every now and then it cooks the grid. Every now and then it takes out all the satellites. Every now and then it fucking kills everybody on Earth. Every now and then the temperature gets to 300 degrees for a week.
Bro, after your fear porn, I'm sort of starting to think that might be a good idea.
It's not fear porn. It's fun.
I'm kidding with you,
I'm making fun of what's going to happen.
Me too.
But you know the thing that I find most sinister about, look, I don't know where I stand with the climate debate and what's going on and whatever else, whether it's man-made, whether it's not. It's above my pay grade. I don't know enough about it. But when you start going, okay, that's interesting, you talk to people who are on one particular side and they go, oh, you're a climate denier?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, right, okay, so now we're in the realms of religion and ideology here. You're denying the climate? You're denying
I deny this air is real. Show me. Prove it, bitch. No. It's crazy. It's crazy talk. You should be able to have a conversation about what the factors are that lead to the temperature change. And it's a very nuanced discussion. And here's what's undeniable. Human beings are gross and we polluted the Earth. That's a fact. So regardless of whether or not it's affecting the temperature of the Earth, we've done disgusting things to the rivers, disgusting things to the air. There's places in this world where if you live and you breathe their air, you will live less. You will die more often of respiratory diseases because you're breathing pollution and toxic fumes that are in the air. That's a fact. That's undeniable.
100%.
And if you're just talking about climate change and you're not talking about that, that's kind of crazy because the climate change thing is really nuanced. And there's a ton of factors, including solar activity, including there's all sorts of weird shit that happens with the temperature on Earth. Before humans ever existed, it would go way up and way down and way up and way. North America was covered in almost 2 miles of ice, like 50% of it. That was just 10,000 years ago.
Yeah. You go to Scotland sometimes, right?
Yes.
Do you know that the Romans used to grow grapes on Hadrian's Wall?
Wow.
Because it was warmer.
The Sahara, how about that? Sub-Saharan Africa was a fucking rainforest. And there's whales. They find whales in the desert of Africa.
Wow.
Whales.
Well,
Like
that proves
prehistoric
global
whales.
warming.
Yeah, it warmed there. But it's like the Sahara Desert used to be it used to be lush.
Yeah.
It's crazy that the world just changes. Things happen, and we get pelted every now and then with giant rocks from space, and it fucks everything up. That's the reality that we live in, and it's just like controlling people and telling people about their carbon footprint. Do not give into that. Do not give into that, especially what China just built 200 new fucking coal plants. Do not give into this carbon footprint thing. It is all just control. Like, for you to have a carbon tax on everything it's control. You can't let them have that kind of control over you.
Do you know what we're doing in the UK now?
What?
Industrial energy prices are 4 times what they are in America. And we can't
Jesus.
even make our own virgin steel.
Oh, my God.
Because of net zero. And not only that, what we're doing is we're not actually reducing our carbon footprint because we still need the steel, right? And we still need the stuff that you make with energy. So we outsource it to India, we outsource it to China, and then we ship it back. And we're like, no carbon footprint.
Oh, my God. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
And so we're destroying our own industry, basically.